Hello, everyone, and welcome to 40,000 Layers. In this show, I'm Tashna. Hello. I learn to paint. Every time I learn to paint.
In this show, I'm Tashnar. In
And
other
yeah.
shows, who knows?
Well, I'm characters actually in other shows. Thank you very much.
That's true.
There you go. That's Sheepy. We're getting ahead
Hello.
in the intro here.
I ruined the intro
Every time. It's fine.
by laughing.
I'm learning to paint miniatures, and Sheepy, aka the Wandering Inn, who you've already heard, teaches
Hello.
me and you guys about Warhammer 40k lore. So you've really thrown me off, but that's all right.
It's improvisation. You got this.
I hate improv. It's the worst thing ever.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much to the folks on Patreon that make this possible. They are Thornlord, Ian, Mark C, Particularly Money, Damned Man, Ramona, V Mushroom, Retrograde Vector, Azean, and Grey Blue One. And if you are interested in helping out, make it possible, check out the Patreon. There's some posts on there for everyone. Go to patreon.com/40,000 layers. There are exclusive posts. There's a custom Discord channel, and you can usually vote for what the monthly topic is going to be. But next month we have a bit of a plan going on. So secrets until then, but maybe not secrets for everyone. Today's topic is going to be Sheepy's favorite. It's not his favorite. The Tau. And the model is the Recon drone from the Pathfinder team. So I will start painting that momentarily. But how are you feeling about this, Sheepy?
So
So happy?
we like the Tau have been kind of shunted all the way to the back of the list for quite a while. There's a lot of things I was looking forward to talking to. There's a lot of things I find super interesting. There are very few 40k subjects I like.
You regret?
Regret or dread or just I regret before doing it, you know?
Okay.
Like the Tau, the Necrons, interestingly, were one of the ones I was worried about.
They're my favourites.
Well, yeah, but the Necrons, they're something that turned up after Sheepy stopped really collecting the minis and getting the weekly and monthly, magazines and, really enjoying the 40k universe. I still love 40k. I've got a lot more back into it. Mm-hmm. But it's always like, oh, what do I need to know today? If I'm running a show or something, I'm like, oh, what do I need to know today? And I just read up a little bit about things and, I have a base understanding of 40k. The Tau are the other thing, aside from the Necrons, that turned up after I kind of like slipped out of 40k, I stopped collecting minis, etc. So there's something I didn't absorb as a kid, and I don't kind of inherently know.
Right.
Added onto that, if you wander around the internet, you'll find things out about the Tau you maybe didn't want to know. Much like the Dark Eldar, there's a second reason for me worrying about talking about them.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't understand it. Maybe I wasn't there, It's one of those things like you had to be there to understand why people draw the Tau how they do.
Well, there's always one faction, isn't there, with the internet?
There is.
It's favored.
There is.
Shall we say?
Yeah. So like that's the kind of kick it off point, and then also the Tau are they're a bit more 40k now, but they're probably the least 40k and the most punching bag of all of the factions.
Punching bag?
In terms of fans.
Oh. What, like fans are bullied for playing the...
They're more. It's a bit more like the maybe it's a bit more like the Ultramarines. They're kind of universally hated by general 40k fans.
Yeah.
I think partially it's because they're technologically very advanced and they're not very melee. Like the rest of 40k is very melee.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have heard of that. Um, but I've also heard that they're very like good guys,
I,
sort of.
I
Good
did
to
like
the extreme. Good in
more
in Warhammer.
more so than anyone else, definitely. But still, like they started off as the good
Yeah,
guys.
that's what I mean.
When they first got introduced by Games Workshop, I think Games Workshop wanted a little light in their darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realized that's not really what people come to 40k for.
Everyone wants to be angry.
Well, 40k people, they love the dark ridiculousness.
Mm.
It, it's it's like a really fucked up joke. You see it, you know, you hear a really offensive, messed up joke, and your automatic instinct is shock and laughter. You know, that's what laughter essentially is. It's a lot like that with 40k, where you go look at it and you're like, ha, the fuck is this?
Oh no.
So they we'll get into it, but the Tau aren't as good as sometimes the memes might say, or it's possible they're not.
Okay.
That's a whole thing. Well yeah. It's not worth starting it until I actually get there, and then we start getting into it. So,
Sorry.
well,
It's already started.
it's already started. I can't wait to talk about, for some reason, like the Space Wolves. We'll probably end up talking about the Ultramarines a little bit. So yeah, the Tau is something I don't know that much about.
Mm-hmm.
And like reading up on them, they're a bit more interesting than I kind of like dismiss them of.
Mm-hmm.
I think really it's because of the additional aliens they're bringing with them and the potential of that.
That you found them a bit bleh, or
Yeah, well, like, so you've seen the Tau, you're painting a Tau. Or
yeah.
they're
I'm already
kind of
angry.
Oh, is this one of the ones we're gonna hate?
A little bit.
Okay. I like. We might be on the same page for once. Usually we're not. We might be on the same page with the Tau.
Maybe.
So the Tau are kind of anime.
Right.
They're very like all of their gear and all of their like vehicles and stuff are very Gundam.
Yeah.
You know, they're very mecha.
Yeah. I've seen some of them, so
Yeah, and like me being an older and more classical 40k player and enthusiast and stuff, there are times when I look at them and I'm like, God, someone spilled anime all over my fandom.
back in my day.
Back in my day, we didn't have all these mecha bullshits. But no, I mean, they're definitely not my favorite.
Yeah.
But they've been tarnished with a little bit of like possibly evil and possibly bad guys, so I can get on board. That's always fun in the 40k universe. So I guess what we should do is actually start talking about the Tau.
I think maybe.
You know, like
sure, I guess.
going into. So one thing I didn't know, and I'm not 100% sure about this, is apparently that it's pronounced toe.
Toe?
Yeah.
Well, that's wrong.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought when I looked at it. It like the way the word is it's T apostrophe AU.
Yeah. Tau.
And in like maybe this is just a random person who wants it to be different. But in the wiki, it's like, well, in one of the wikis, I have about 500 tabs open again. It says that also spelled TAU in older records and pronounced TOW, TOW.
I feel like that person's it's just them. It's just them on a
Just
crusade.
wrong, maybe. Yeah, I'm completely open to them being wrong because I've always said Tau. It's like for for a good 10 plus years, me and a few of my mates who played 40k a lot used to call the Tyranids the Tyrannids.
Tyrannids. Or...
And it took me a long time to come to terms with apparently it's Tyranids. Because it's tyrants, you know, like tyrants, and it's obviously tyrannids, but it's not. So fuck me, I guess. I'm still a little bit salty about that, to be honest. I'm not gonna
Still
lie.
bitter.
A little bit. I mean, what is wrong with tyrannids?
A lot.
They even came from a planet called Tyrant.
Did they?
Except
Oh,
for
well
it's
then.
Tyrant, I think. Was it Tyrant?
I didn't say this segues. It's not my fault.
No. This is 300% on me. What was the planet they were found on originally?
Dead one.
There was an original planet.
This is not going well. I just want you to know.
No, sorry, it was called Tyran. So maybe it was called Tyran. I don't know. Anyway, that's nothing to do with the Tau.
Until later.
Yes, until later. We still haven't done the Tyranids. So,
I'm
you know,
so unhappy.
that's coming.
The entire paint, by the way, I am just going to say, I'm so unhappy. Every time I get more unhappy. So I want you to be emotionally prepared for that.
Okay.
Because it's going to happen a lot.
Brilliant. Let's do this. I'm going to be super unhappy talking about the Tau. You're going to be super unhappy with the painting. We're going to just banish the Tau from existence and refuse to ever. After this show, we're going to refuse to ever acknowledge their existence.
And say,
yeah,
I'm going to need you to discontinue the Tau. Do you think that'll work?
No. Games Workshop has never listened to anything anyone says.
Okay, now.
Which has kind of worked out with 40k, but not so much with Warhammer. Whatever, it's fine. I'm not bitter.
There's plenty of people that like Warhammer.
Yeah, they're just wrong.
Oh my god, this again.
So, the Tau, the Tau. I'm going to call them the Tau. Like, I don't know. Name. Yeah, they're the Tau. Whoever put that thing in the wiki, don't be so wrong. Okay. The Tau are interesting because, you know, I mean, we're in Warhammer 40,000, right? So it's been, 40 millenniums of time from like the early Earth, managing to get out into there's been a lot of goddamn time. The Tau has only really been around for, I mean, the first encounter with them was about 6,000 years ago.
They just turn up one day, like, they're Necrons.
Yeah, so no, they're not Necrons. And also, the Necrons didn't just turn up one day.
Well, they were having a big old nap.
Yeah, they're having a big old nap, but they were around significantly for quite a long time.
I know, but the Imperium don't know that. We view a lot of the history from the Imperium's point of view, right? So
I'm a little bit proud of that. Yes,
I'm learning.
That's very true.
Look at me. I mean, like, been able to make Warhammer jokes.
Yeah.
That's like one whole thing. Then
that's one whole like little star, a tick. So when was it? There was. I'm sorry, I need to jump ahead of myself because it's kind of impressive how they suddenly just turned up.
Bam! We're here. We're Tau. We're taking over the universe.
Okay, so I'm not 100% sure how much late. So the first time the Tau were noted, they were a Stone Age level of technology about 6,000 years ago, so probably like the 35th millennium.
Right.
So that's halfway between the Horus Heresy and current day 40,000, Warhammer 40,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, you know,
They're doing
like,
really well, like to be the more advanced technological team.
yeah. Essentially, what happened was so I think some inquisitors, or like an inquisitorial fleet. Maybe it was Adeptus Mechanicus, Explorator. Fleet basically found the Tau homeworld,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Oh, there's some Xenos here who are kind of hitting sticks against rocks, and they've just mastered fire." And they were like, "Ah, well, who cares about that?" They kind of kept going, like note it down. Maybe they'll bomb the planet or something later. Who knows?
I was thinking they should take advantage of this now.
Well, the thing is it's really far in like the Eastern Fringes. If you look at the picture of the if you look at a picture of the galaxy of 40K, then north is, well, obviously up and etc. etc. They're in like way far in the Eastern Fringes. Like even now, in current day 40,000, 140,000, they don't really know that much of the area.
Mm.
There's a lot of like lost human worlds, and
It's a
a
bit
lot
hard
of it's
work.
unexplored or unknown,
Okay.
etc.
Too much work to kill him. Got it.
So yeah, sending them out over there and being like, "Hey, let's take this planet." It's like, unless there's something really nice there, if the Adeptus Mechanicus had seen evidence of like some technology or like old like human Dark Age technology stuff, oh yeah, they'd have exterminated that race and like settled down there to study it and sleep with it at night and stuff. Um, because that's just the Mechanicus. They're
They're
they're a bit like that.
cozy.
Yeah, yeah. Don't leave them alone with your calculator. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no.
Um,
Look, we're moving on from these kind of topics.
okay. Very tricky sums.
They're new.
So,
Okay. So the new babies, and they turned up
well,
6,000. Well, when did they rock up recently?
so I think what happened was there was a warp storm,
Yeah.
as there often is, because the
Chaos
warp storms in 40K, in the galaxy, are like twisters, twisters in America.
Mm-hmm.
There's always one like twisting away somewhere in the middle of nowhere that no one really notices, but everyone complains about.
Yeah.
So they kind of got forgotten, and there was a warp storm, so it's kind of hard to get to, if at all possible. They're like, whatever, like, we don't really need to care about that type of thing. And then I think it may have been a couple of hundred years later, maybe. The warp storm had subsided, and then these fucking, armies and fleets of like super advanced ships and soldiers and just suddenly started turning up in the area, like claiming planets and expanding and all that type of thing. And the Imperium was like, what the fuck's happening here? Like, where did these people come from? And that was the Tau. The
Yeah.
Tau Empire started to expand.
What up?
I think they've had 3 expansions. Like comparative to the Imperium, they're really small,
Yeah.
and they're like technologically they're a threat, but if the Imperium, it's like a lot of these things. Like if the Imperium really wanted, they could focus all of their forces on like a massive campaign and crusade to crush the Tau Empire.
Okay, but I mean that would open them up, wouldn't it, to
It
everyone
would
else?
open them up to literally everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to send all your forces to deal with the Tau, and then you know Gazgul Thracker or Abaddon like rocks up and is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, caught you napping." Boom, there goes 15,000 planets. What? So you know they send you know enough forces to deal with problems and to you know kind of like hold them off and fight them and all that type of thing, but they can't send everyone.
Yeah.
So the Tau have made some expansions and some gains and all that type of thing. Yeah.
It's all right for them.
So before we go into the Tau now, also known as, I mean, you need to say it because
How now, brown towel?
there you go. You got it done. Because the second I said that, I was like, oh yeah, how now, brown?
Yeah, you
that
said
was
something
in my
earlier,
head
and I was
too.
like, oh no, it's gonna happen.
We should probably talk about how they got there.
They're like
So,
in the universe.
well, to the point where they have very, very quickly like awesome technology. You know, like they can go toe to toe or Tau to Tau
Hate it.
with the Imperium
Yeah.
and others. Uh, Essentially, as with basically every other civilization and anyone, they had a lot of wars and fights and, you know, tribes warring against each other, cities warring against each other. And there was, you know, progress, but it was regular progress.
Yeah.
You know, there's kind of there was no leaps and bounds that you'd expect if they, you know, advanced technologically so quickly. What happened was one city or one tribe fighting another tribe. There was a fortress city which was being attacked by plains warriors, you know, so city versus plains and something along those lines. And that is where we first run into a group of beings called the Ethereals.
I have heard of them,
Hmm.
but what bad things did they do?
So the war between the plains warriors and the city, like there's a siege, and they'd been holding out for like 5 years. And it was, you know, as sieges go, it was getting worse. As it got to the point where it looked like the city might fall, you know, maybe they'd have to charge out and have a proper fight. Who knows what would have happened? Two Tau appeared. One went to the besieging army.
Mm-hmm.
The other went into the city, into the fortress.
Right.
And a couple of hours later, they were in peace talks.
But how?
Well, the Ethereals convinced both sides to broker peace and come to an understanding. After 5 years of wanting to destroy each other completely.
Mind control?
You know,
Witchcraft?
they're just like super convincing, right?
Mind control.
So these ethereals brought with them an idea,
Uh-huh.
and that idea was a greater good that all Tau should be working towards.
The greater good.
The greater good. Cue
Shaun of the Dead. No, Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz memes, yeah. Which I must say, even though I've seen 1,000 times, I still appreciate for talking about the Tau because it is kind of like that. Um, so both sides very quickly agreed with the Ethereals and brokered a truce.
Mm-hmm.
And as this was going on, a little bit later, more and more Ethereals turned up with this same kind of like just wandering in and being like, hey, what's up? We should all get together. We should all work together. We should hug and we should have some tea. Harmony, cooperation, peace, love, all that type of thing. And everyone agreed.
I don't like this.
And
I'm feeling very stressed.
very, very quickly, the entirety of the planet united together and developed technology at an astounding rate. Very quickly, gaining spacefaring capabilities and faster than light travel.
This is bad, isn't it?
You know 40K.
Everything is terrible.
So, that's kind of the basic history of the Tau is suddenly because the what is it called, the Ultima Segmentus or something like that. It's the Eastern Fringes and Ultima Segmentum, which is a kind of eastern side of the galaxy. If you want, I can send you a little image.
I can't reach anything.
It's okay. I'll
Everything's
throw it in.
terrible. Please don't make me do extra.
It's cool. It's cool. I threw it in the 40. I thought throw it in the 40,000 layers in your Discord for perusal at some point. In that area,
I was being dramatic. I'll probably try to reach it.
In that area is the Ultramarines as well. Like they're kind of the realm of Ultramar is basically a section of the galaxy that the Ultramarines kind of like, you know,
hang out,
preside over, be assholes, whatever. To give you an idea of how far it is, the Astronomicon, you know, the beacon that the Emperor like psychically projects to guide spaceships.
Yeah.
Doesn't even really go that far. Like it kind of does, but not all the way.
Okay.
So going onwards, would you like to go into the greater good or the ethereals? Or like find out what happened after the Tau kind of like started to...
Well, I want to know a bit about the ethereals, because then I can judge their greater good and you know, how evil it was, I suppose. It is.
So, everyone get your wait so beams ready.
Yep.
Because the ethereals are part of the Tau castes. They are the ruling elite. The 5 castes being fire, earth, air, and water castes, with the ethereal being the 5th and kind of like the leader caste, I guess. Also known as celestial or ethereal castes.
Isn't that handy that they managed to set themselves up that way?
Yes. I'm surprised you did want to know more about the other casts.
Well, I'm thinking it's like Fifth Element.
Not really.
The costs. I'm guessing that magical, mystical powers. Nope. Nope.
No, not really. Um,
Okay. Wait. So, what the frickle frackle are the costs? Say it like that right now.
so would you like to keep going on ethereals, or would you like to know about the casts?
Ethereals.
Okay.
We'll loop back to that though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Like next thing we'll do is we'll talk about the fire, air, earth, and water
I'm
casts,
just
and
all I can
the
think is Avatar. You know?
I mean, everyone was happy until the fire cast attacked.
Yeah,
Basically.
probably. As per
Um.
usual.
So the ethereals are leaders, and they are the rulers of the Tau Empire. They have almost complete loyalty and fealty and authority over every Tau in existence.
Right.
They are a mixture of like kings and priests. And probably the way they're treated is the closest thing to like a religion in the Tao,
Right. Okay.
sphere.
Hmm.
It isn't complete. It isn't like a complete domination. Very often they'll bring together the heads of the other castes, experts in things, and ask for advice and guidance and input before they decide what will happen.
Right.
And very often they find themselves in more of a guidance role. They set people on the right path and help the other castes like raise themselves up type thing.
Dubious.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of from me.
Yeah. So very very often they have a council of ethereals, and then they ultimately on their homeworld or wherever they have the ethereal high council that has the ethereal supreme, like the president essentially.
But yeah, I mean, you say their homeworld. Where do they come from?
The Tau.
The ethereals.
Oh well,
They just rock up
they
one
they
day.
they're also Tau.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
Oh, the way you made it
they're
sound was
they're
like.
they're all the same cast of they're all different casts of the same race, the Tau
Right.
species.
Okay.
There are aliens that are also Tau, which just makes it more confusing. But they're part of the Tau Empire. They're not part of the Tau species.
Yes. Okay. Like
This is like
the Slith is a Drukari subservient, but it's not a Drukari.
yes.
Got it.
This is why we like the Imperium.
Because things make
Because
sense.
they're all just humans and they kill everyone else, and it's very very simple.
Yeah, it is a bit more simple.
Up the Imperium, yay! So yeah, they're just the only thing I can compare it to on Earth is as we are currently is like the English or the French or whatever, just they're a different classification.
Okay.
There are legitimate differences as far as I can tell so far. And they are the ones who turned up reasonably mystically, like messiahs all over the planet, basically being like, yo, peace and love and the greater good, and everyone was kind of like, yes, we want this, when they'd been fighting each other for centuries, you know.
Yeah. I mean, peace after all that time sounds probably kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
But I'm
I was
still
gonna,
I'm still suspicious of how they just turned up.
yeah. Well, and plus, you do like your evilmans.
I do.
So you're probably hoping there's going to be some evil in here that you could like latch onto and be like, okay, I like the towel.
Well, it's not just that the evil; it's that they have a good origin story. You know,
Yeah,
um, everyone can be a bit evil if that's how it went, and that's how it
as long as you have
started.
a good evil, a good origin story, you can be a bit evil. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable evil, isn't it? The perspective of it, like everyone is their own protagonist. No one can be.
Necrons aren't even particularly evil. They're just kind of asshats.
Now you be careful. I'm trying to paint and defend my faves.
Are the Necrons still your favorites?
Yeah, my babies.
Okay, all right. So the ethereals kind of are the center of the other casts.
Yeah.
They kind of guide the other casts to do the certain things, like the earth, the water, the air, and the fire cast. Um, it's not completely clear when they turned up.
Yeah, because again, Imperium View and
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible that because the Tau at the time, like back when they were kind of, tribal and just starting to figure out, a very, very early technology, look like they're on a path towards like destroying itself. It's possible that they were basically the. Do you know what a sport is?
I'm assuming it's not like football.
No, a sport is essentially like an aberration from the norm
Okay.
that like pops up during evolution and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, so you think they were like a
I mean, could be,
could be.
but as we'll find out as we go, none of this may be true. So anyway,
Great.
worry about that later.
Okay.
There were a lot of signs of the end of days, essentially, before the ethereals turned up.
Yeah.
There were loads of war. There's lots of famine, disease, all those horrible things. And there was like flickering nights in the flickering nights in the light sky.
Mhm.
Like ghostly figures seen late at night or in the early morning. Blah 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 blah, all that stuff. Everyone's like, we're all gonna die. And then a group of ethereals came out, and that's when they turned up, and that's when they went and kind of brokered a peace and slowly brought the whole planet together.
Mhm.
And then the Tau Empire formed, and then they kind of pushed out from there. There's a little bit of conflict in some of the information we have about the Tau, partially because the Tau started out as one thing, much like the Necrons, and kind of evolved into something else as they became part of 40k lore. So there are going to be times maybe I may mention something which is just wrong because
It used to be right, or it's
it
not
used
right
to be
anymore.
right, or it just hasn't been touched for 10 years or something.
Okay. Okay.
Essentially, the ethereals, pretty much everything I've said is the basis of the ethereals. They do fight. It's not like they never go into battle. It's not super regular, but you get ethereals in battle and leading forces, especially commanders, all that type of thing. Especially seeing, especially in important battles and things like that, because it's a bit like the Primarchs, right?
Yeah.
If you're a space marine and you're fighting on some world that no one really gives a shit about, and it's just other space marines there with you, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll do my job for the Emperor and all that type of thing. If your Primarch is there, you're like, I'll fucking do everything for Daddy.
Oh.
um,
We should just rename the Space Marines as Daddy Issues. Like, so
well,
many.
the Primarchs too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Just see a space marine in a bar getting drunk and chatted up by some rich businessman. A little bit of a grey fox old.
I'm shaking my head. You can't see.
I can visualize it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, having the ethereals at a battle tends to have the other Tau like fight harder and a bit more zealously and all that type of things. One of the interesting things is the ethereals display a significant amount of charisma and ability to convince, and like, the interesting thing is, ever since the ethereals turned up, barely anyone in the Tau Empire has questioned what they're doing or what happened way back when the ethereals turned up.
Yeah, I mean, they
Or
use their
even,
magic brain powers.
yeah, or even the source, like how these people turned up, or how they are like this.
Witches. That's how they be like this.
Um,
I wanted to make a tabletop joke, but I can't remember what the skill's called.
what are you?
Where they
Willpower?
no, where they can it's like a not a train skill, but it's not a spell, but it would be the equivalent of a spell in D&D. To
Oh, compel?
compel the masses.
Mm. Well, it's interesting because there have been times when an ethereal has been killed in a battle,
Oh no.
and the Tau fighting will like collapse in complete disorganization, even if they're winning, even if they're like just about to win.
Hmm.
Uh, there are other times where they go kind of feral and just like go crazy and try and kill everyone.
Mind controls, I tells you.
Yeah.
Someone who made a character who had these.
Although, just to note, even when they go feral and crazy, they still don't charge into close combat. They like march forward, like shooting nonstop.
Of course, can't be doing close combat. They're not very good at it.
Close combat's for suckers.
Heck yeah, why would you get close to them? You just want to shoot from a distance and win anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Imperium, especially the Inquisitors and Mechanicus and etc., are kind of interested to figure out exactly the fuck is going on with that.
Yeah.
Um, just purely because they think or they posit that it's possible that if they assassinate the right ethereals at the right times,
Ooh, they'll all fall down.
they might be able to collapse the empire or, you know, deal it a very strong blow or anything along those lines.
Yeah. Should do that.
It is also theorized by some imperial scholars and investigators and inquisitors and whatnot that some of the casts, especially if you just if they are like isolated away from the guidance of ethereals, they actually regress to how they were at the beginning before the ethereals turned up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So the ethereals gave them enlightenment and consistency and mind
Yeah.
control.
Yeah, it's very possible, like going off that, there's a possibility of their evolution basically being like some low psychic connectivity thing,
Yeah.
like a Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So like the essentially what it could be is the ethereals are literally like a Wi-Fi modem, and they just upload intelligence and sophistication and culture to all the surrounding like other Tau casts
That's
around them.
like ridiculous but cool.
I mean, that's my thought on it. That's not even what the Imperials are thinking. I don't think, but um, so yeah, that's why the Imperium are like, hey, maybe we could assassinate some of these guys.
Yeah. Would possibly be effective. And interesting.
So
So,
one of the again going through what the Imperium knows, uh, the authority the ethereals hold is such that if they told another Tau to like kill themselves, they would.
right, yeah, because it's for the greater good.
It would be the equivalent of like, God, I don't want to make this comparison, but it would be the equivalent of like, you know, giving a robot a like self destruct, or like a self destruct order. Essentially, it just happens almost.
Yeah.
There's If you do it in the Imperium, it's questionable. Like it's very possible because there is a very fanatical belief in the Imperium, especially in certain areas. But at the very least, even like an Imperial Guard or Space Marine, if they're given that order, very very likely they'd be like, "Is that what you're actually telling me to do? Or are you sure about that?" Or there'd be hesitance.
But for real? That isn't very nice.
Yeah,
But
in the Tau,
and questioning
they're
it.
wondering. The Imperium wonders
Right.
if it's some innate psychic ability that kind of manipulates and controls. Others think it might be some type of technology,
Mm.
possibly like propaganda from birth,
Right.
or one theory that I quite like is pheromone based.
Ooh, yeah. Could be.
So it's essentially it could be some type of evolution, like I was talking about earlier, whereby much like let's say much like ants, I guess, you have different workers. You have different workers. You have soldiers. You have workers. The queens and etc. And it's all very kind of like evolved. And it's very possible that the ethereals evolved to rule, like specifically to be the rulers.
Yeah.
And that's why, until they turned up, until they were there, the Tau just fought each other and that type of thing, because they didn't have a function for rule, they didn't have a function for control and guidance.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I think I like the psychic powers more though.
Yeah, I like the Wi-Fi idea. I think that's I mean, it's mine, so you know, of course I like it. But,
So you're biased.
yeah.
That's fine. I think. I mean, I obviously I don't know much about them.
Yeah.
But I think the psychic ability makes sense for having like the range, and if they are removed from them, but then that would work for pheromones too, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So
And the pheromones would explain the kind of either despair or rage, because it would be almost like a drug.
yeah,
But that could work for psycho stuff too.
yeah.
There's
How do the
also
Tau feel about psychers and stuff? Like,
um
how do the
wow, you hit me with a heavyweight so. I'm not sure.
Oh God.
I don't actually know if the Tau have psycho abilities.
Because I'm thinking like if there's a big no, like general populace can't be psychers, and that would give it as a little clue, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
Better research it real quick. Are there?
Yeah,
psychers? Sorry.
no, it's I'm trying to like I'm trying to see if there's any mention. There's no mention of psycho abilities. Uh but here's a thought for you.
Okay. Hit me. Let's go.
If there is some kind of as it seems like there is, if there is some kind of psycho or pheromone based like manipulation, mind control, indoctrination, and all those things, why should anyone believe that the history of the Tau that we know is actually true?
Because humans are built different,
Uh-huh.
and the Tau don't present in the same psycho way that others do.
No, but what I'm saying is all of everything that I just told you,
Yeah.
all of the history of the Tau Empire and them turning up and all of those type of things, why is like there's no reason for that to be the truth, because if they can indoctrinate, if they can mind control, if it's chemical, if it's psycho, that could all be a lie that the ethereals put in after they took over. So
something has to be true. We have to say something.
yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Something has to be true. That doesn't mean that what we're told is what is true. It's very possible something else completely happened. You know, what if,
Oh my God.
like for example, what if the Tau were just starting to present psychers?
Yeah.
And we all know who likes psychers.
Me.
They like to well, sure, but they like to possess psychers and take them over.
Well, when you said that their technological advancement was very quick, I was like, oh, hello, chaos.
Yeah, like what if the entirety of the Tau Empire is just some demons fucking around? Like they took over the Tau psychers and now they're manipulating and
Yeah, the greater good. What greatest good is better than evil?
And can we think of any other instance where demons manipulated a race until something very bad happened.
Rhymes with Smeldar.
Smeldar?
Yeah.
One of the theories I have is that there is another chaos god in the process of wanting to be birthed, like Slanesh was birthed, and they're using the Tau.
Oh. And they're using condescension.
Well, condescension. But it's an interesting thought, like, and that would explain why no one questions what happened before, and they just, they're so. But yeah, like, we'll go over a few more things as we go. But that's one of the thoughts I have is possibly it's all a manipulation to birth a new chaos god.
We do like options. Wouldn't it be
We do.
funny if they helped birth the chaos god that is the Emperor?
He's not necessarily. He's not definitely a chaos god. Okay, just. Also, you felt bad for the Emperor last episode.
No, I didn't. Prove it.
Multiple times you felt bad for the Emperor.
Prove it.
We have video proof. It's on your YouTube channel where people can go and watch all episodes of 40,000 Layers. Da, da, da.
Plug.
Should we take a moment and
Yes, review. Painting is going horrifically, but that's all right. And we will continue in the next video.
we'll talk about the other costs.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited for that. See you in a second.